All right, welcome back to We Watch. My name is Ryan Mullis.
And my name is Andrew Perez.
So, Andrew, what is your favorite Christopher Nolan film?
That is a good question. My favorite Christopher Nolan film is Inception. It's such a good movie. I love how it plays with reality, time. You got Leonardo DiCaprio, great acting. It's overall a great movie. I really love how he plays with sound in the movie. Very good editing as well. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Inception. Of course, I'm also a massive fan of the film we're about to talk about, but we'll get to that. But, it's Inception, Dark Knight are all fantastic films. But I really like The Prestige. I think that's one of the most underrated films by Nolan. It's just so captivating from the beginning to end with all the mystery going on. But I love it. But speaking of Christopher Nolan, me and Andrew last Saturday went down to the UC Theater to talk about his newest film, Oppenheimer. So, how do you feel about Oppenheimer?
I loved it. Definitely one of the best movies this year I've seen. It was incredible on so many levels. Truly, I love the directing. I love the acting. The acting especially. Cillian Murphy killed it. He's got the Oscar in the bag this year for Best Actor, for sure. He actually learned Dutch just for this movie, which is very impressive. Such a star-studded cast as well. I mean, you got Robert Downey Jr., great, Rami Malek, Florence Pugh, so many great, even Matt Damon, so many great actors in this movie, and they all bring their A game easily. The special effects, no CGI in this movie at all. Wow, I am blown away. I think we're also tired of the Marvel CGI and the overstimulation of just all these movies coming out, but this really just shows how special effects are done and how it can look good and realistic at the same time.
Yeah.
Overall, definitely one of the best movies I've seen this year. What about you, Ryan?
I thought it was wonderful. It's one of my favorite films of the year as well. Probably my favorite film, although I have not watched many films from 2023, so that might change. A lot of great films that are being anticipated, but I second your notion. The acting is incredible. The ensemble cast is impeccable in this film, especially Cillian Murphy as the title character Oppenheimer. I think I'm not even watching the actor. That's some of my favorite acting is when it's not registering to me. That's the actor. That's Oppenheimer talking to me right now. And it's the same thing with the supporting cast in this film. There are 4 actors who I think could be in contention for Best Supporting Actor, but obviously the number one guy is Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss. He is giving an incredible performance, especially off of his decades with Marvel and stuff like that. Just getting really a chance to get back into some acting with other characters bouncing off of one another.
A very character-driven story.
Yeah, he was giving good performances in Marvel films as well. I really liked his Iron Man, but he's bringing a new aspect of his style and acting to this performance. I thought the visuals were incredible. Everything with the bomb. There was this thing in the movie where, if you notice it, I caught it on my first viewing when I initially saw it earlier this year in September. But there's this match shot that's happening the entire time from that kind of bookends the movie where Oppenheimer's looking down on this pond and it's creating these little dribbles and stuff like that. These waves. And that's matched at the end where a bunch of bombs are going off and basically falling down like water drops.
Yeah.
It's an incredible visual. Those subtle details like that in film, these intelligent decisions, I think, have been missing from these massive blockbusters that have been coming out. It's retained in Christopher Nolan. That's what makes him such an exciting filmmaker to watch. And I'll still say on a cultural level, the success of this movie is just something we kind of needed. I'm not a massive hater of Marvel films, of course, but they are dominating the market, and the fact that people are still hungry to see films like this, it just kind of brings it kind of brings faith back to me that people really want to see, cinema.
Real film that takes years and years in the making with a great script and great acting.
Yeah. Obviously, it was launched with the Barbenheimer craze earlier this year.
I did do that.
Barbie has something to do, but also Barbie was a really good.
Yeah, those are two very good movies that were just back to back.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite scene in the movie?
My favorite scene. This is very hard because Christopher Nolan, it's just a treat to the eyes. The entire movie. every scene is just so important after another. But definitely my favorite scene would have to be the scene where he's giving the speech at the end after they drop the bomb. The entire movie, you don't know if they're gonna do it because it's just a test run. I mean, clearly they dropped the bomb in real life, but this is a test run. They don't know if all these years of practicing and making it is gonna work. And right when they drop it, they have this big celebration. And right when he is giving the speech, it fully comes to realization that he has just killed thousands of people. I mean, clearly he had to do it for his country. He wanted to innovate physics. He wanted to protect his country, but he now realizes that in order to do that, he destroyed another person's country. Yeah. And just that scene of the full realization, the zoom in on his face, you could see all the emotion flood in. It's just such an emotional scene. It's just like when it cuts to white and you just hear the children screaming, it's just so powerful. Like genuinely, I was just, wow, haunted.
Yeah, I absolutely love that scene as well. But there are multiple scenes in this film that I think are amazing. I really liked the entire sequence with them like doing the test as well, especially with that anticipation of it. You know, it's raining outside. They're thinking and betting that they're dropping a dud after this like this years and years of research creating this this atomic weapon, and like all the things like leading up to the launch with all the unsureness and the intensity and the stress that's going through their minds of how safe they are in that situation as well, with like literally like getting away as far as you can from that thing, but still be in sight to see it drop. It's just such a like patient and well done spectacle scene. I love whenever it drops, like everything goes silent.
Yeah.
And it just like this prolonged period of like him narrating over it with the Bhagavad Gita quote. And
definitely.
And then all of a sudden like everything just like this massive boom just radiates throughout the theater. It's just such an intense moment. And I would say like all throughout this film, it's like a multi-genre movie really. It's like you have the courtroom drama scenes doing with him like him grappling with what he has done, with the kind of creation that he has made, and like using his influence and power to kind of like legislate on like the continuation of the creation of these bombs and the efficacy behind it, which eventually leads to his ousting by spoiler alert, Louis Strauss. Should throw that in. It kind of sets up this entire thing so that he can get him out. So he, essentially just to become top dog again. So there's like this power struggle between Oppenheimer and Strauss within like this committee. But like it's courtroom drama. It's a spectacle.
It's also that romance going on too.
Oh yeah, there's romantic aspects of the film as well. It's just a spectacular film from like all aspects. So is there any complaints that you have about this movie at all?
Before I get into complaints, I just wanted to add that Christopher Nolan is just so good with the sound and the timing. I definitely agree. Whenever the bomb drops, it just goes silent. It's just such an impactful scene, and it really does just make you sit in that theater and like, wow, this is cinema right here.
Absolutely.
Just like movies like that just show you like this is what movies should be. It should make you feel something, real emotion. But for critiques, that's hard. I know. It's such a good movie. That's really hard to think. I guess the only critique is the length. Yeah. Not that I don't mind long movies, but this is like an actual 3 hour. Like this is a very, very long movie, and there's a lot to get through. Exactly. Which is I guess can be a little hard at times. Definitely towards the end. When you know what's going to happen, but you just are waiting for it to happen, it gets a little like, I don't want to say repetitive, but you're just kind of sitting there and you're like a little tired, But that's honestly my only complaint. Everything in this movie is just so good, but I guess the 3 hour length is really just a no for some people. I don't mind it as much. It was just a little annoying.
Exactly. I mean, like both showings I went to, I did happen to do a bathroom break at once.
No, yeah, definitely, yeah.
I managed the second time to not do the same scene, so I didn't miss out on any information. But the length is a bit crushing. I will say that the editing and the pacing of the film doesn't really make the length show all that much, in my opinion. I think it's well paced. I think that it kind of does fly by when you're considering like all the aspects that it's incorporating into the film, but it's definitely a 3 hour film. You do bring that good point of that. That's pretty divisive. My only real complaint with it is I think she's incredible in the film. I think she's doing a good job, but everything with Florence Pugh, not a massive fan of it all that much. You know, there's obviously that one scene that was made fun of where they introduced the Bhagavad Gita quote during a sex scene, and they thought that was pretty awkward. First time I was not really a fan of it. But second time, it's kind of funny to think about, like, it's such an important quote. It's kind of like Christopher Nolan kind of like trolling the audience a bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, you want to hear the quote in the film? I'm going to insert it into this really awkward scene or something like that. But I do respect that aspect of it, but, you know, I still think it could have been handled a bit
it
well.
was a little weird. He did do a little bit of trolling. It was a little strange. I also think I would have liked to see more of Florence Pugh just like acting and like just talking. They didn't really give her much to do in this movie.
Some more dimension to the character
exactly.
as well.
Some more like character aspects. She didn't really get that much screen time in this movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like she played a giant part in Oppenheimer's life. I mean, she's his love interest. You know, it's just very. Yeah. I would have liked to see a little more of that. You know.
Yeah, you could say she's like kind of like a teaser.
Yeah.
To like the the destruction.
Yeah.
In his wake to you know. That like kind of sets off the events.
His
later.
life, yeah.
But like other than that, I just think this film is spectacular. I think it's a wonderful piece, and might as well get into scores for this film. So, how are you feeling about Oppenheimer?
I'm giving this a 5 out of 5, easily without a doubt. One of the best movies this year for sure. I loved every aspect of this movie. It just is an emotion. You just have to be there. It was amazing. I felt so many emotions. I loved it. So it's a 5. What about you, Ryan?
So even though I'm not the biggest fan of the creative decisions that I mentioned before, this is virtually a perfect film from beginning to end. I think it's one of the best films of the year. It could end up being my favorite film of the year. I'll just have to see. You know, I just got to catch up on more movies. But I second that notion. This is a 5 out of 5 from me. It's an absolutely stunning piece of cinema. And
definitely.
It's something, again, I'll reiterate, we need especially more of in this modern movie landscape is films that are just so auteur-driven, and like Christopher Nolan. And it's just another incredible film by one of the movie industry's finest directors right now.
Definitely one of the best out right now. This is also a very important movie too. I mean, there's a lot they go over, especially with war, PTSD, expect death. Like, this is a very important film. I think everyone should watch at least once in their life, just to get to show you that, you know, there's different aspects of war to everybody and to the other countries. So I think it's a very important film as well.
There are different angles to cover war.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know,
it's very important.
Exactly. Anyway, so that does it for our review. This is the section where we would normally give our recommendations, but actually we are going to save that for the upcoming Christmas special that we have here at We TV. So look forward to that. We will be giving Christmas recommendations in the preview in the next newscast for that. So
yes, we're very excited for that. Well, thank you for watching We Watch. We appreciate you tuning in, and keep watching movies.
Exactly. Keep watching movies.